Alan Hirsch Advisors, creating aha moments, presents Aha Business Podcasts. We provide opportunities to discover information to help you run your business and guide your decision making. The more you know, the better decisions you make. For more information, log on to alanhirschadvisors.com. I'm your host, Alan Hirsch. Attention business owners. Has your business suffered financially from COVID-19? If so, let us help. I'm Alan Hirsch, a member of Business Coaches Assembled under a grant from the Small Business Breakthrough Executive Team. Our mission is to help business owners who have seen their revenues negatively impacted by 20% or more due to the virus. We can help you recover $50,000 to $70,000 or more of your lost revenue over the next 90 to 120 days. For more information, go to www.ahaonlinelearning.com to receive my book, 45-Minute Breakthroughs. That's go to www.ahaonlinelearning.com. Welcome to today's podcast. My guest is Scott Dell. He's assistant professor of business at Francis Marion University. He's also a CPA and an entrepreneur. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Glad to be here, Alan. Thank you for having me.
So what motivates you to get up in the morning and go to work?
Great question. Making a difference. I am a full-time academic now for 14 years and just got my doctorate a year ago because of lifelong learning that I'm a fan. But I find that what got me going, I never envisioned being a full-time academic because I've been entrepreneurial, I've had business, I worked with the Big Eight, which is obviously now the Big Four, the CPA firms out there. And I like doing things that helps others to succeed. And I really enjoy working with my students and doing some different kind of things.
Mm-hmm. So you're also author of the book, The Complete Guide to I forget this.
There it is right there.
Okay, to succeeding with LinkedIn. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's, that's what I want to start talking about because you really have studied LinkedIn. So where do you start? Where does a business owner who hasn't used LinkedIn or has tried to use LinkedIn, how does he get started on using it?
Great question. I'll tell you, he or she that hasn't used it is more and more rare these days. But there are a lot of folks that are not taking full advantage. And frankly, I've been active maybe 12 years now on LinkedIn. And for 10 of those, I require it in all my academic classes. It's 5% of a grade. So I think it's that important. I've used it for all my businesses. I've used it for enhancing visibility and awareness. And LinkedIn has evolved. 10 years ago, it was a resume on screen. But right now, it really is a tool that you put your best foot forward. You hear a lot about branding, image. It's who you are, what you are, and where I like to get to is the why you are. I'm a big fan of 7 Habits, Highly Effective People. And you look at the second habit, Stephen Covey, begin with the end in mind. So the question I will ask to start is, what do you want it for? What do you want to do with it? What direction are you headed? Once you have an end in mind, now we can take the tool and frame that tool to use it effectively to get to your end.
Right. Now, one of the keys that I learned on LinkedIn, it's great for recruiters. They want to recruit. It's great for if you want to get to CEOs and business owners, you can link with them.
Great if you want to reach to millionaires.
Right. But in the long and short of it, your profile has to match what you're looking for.
Exactly. I actually have changed my own profile since I wrote the book last summer. Okay. COVID's been an opportunity. I've done things. I got to meet you, which I had not been for COVID. We probably wouldn't have met.
I was never on Zoom before. I never did podcast. I did a local radio show. So yeah, I'm meeting people. I'm signing clients in South Africa and Scotland and all over the place because I'm expanding.
And I started two businesses as well. I have a partner in Madison, Wisconsin for one, and in Tucson, Arizona for another. And yeah, it's been an opportunity. And LinkedIn is really an opportunity as well. So let's start thinking what's the end in mind. And I'll share my LinkedIn story, and maybe that will help put a reflection on how others might be able to use it. And I started it when, mainly, like I said, I've been a full-time academic for 14 years. I just got my doctorate out of Wisconsin a year ago. And I wasn't the oldest guy in my class. So not far, but wasn't the oldest. Wharton MBA, CPA, and then I had a master's in educational technology in between. So lifelong learning, education, I believe in, but I also believe in sharing. And I feel that the tool of LinkedIn, when I got first involved, it was basically some exposure to see other people, other professionals, and kind of network and get started oriented. I found that when I popped a job at the school I was at, I was an accounting program director, and I popped on LinkedIn and I said, great, we're looking for an adjunct for finance. In 15 minutes, at the time I had a network of maybe 800, 1,000, maybe 1,200 folks in a network.
How many do you have?
And 24,000, I guess.
Yeah.
And by the way, my first 18,000 were on the free account. So you don't need to get a paid account, because that's often a question I get. Really, do I need the Sales Navigator? And it's actually pretty useful. Or do I need to go on the HR track, which is real good if you're headhunting and trying to find folks.
Right.
But you can do a lot with the free version. So that's get that hurdle out of the way.
Yeah,
we'll get that started.
We can talk about using the free version versus the
paid versions.
Charges, and using the free is very dynamic.
It's very powerful. We're in a day of data analytics, and the database you can tap into. I mean, Microsoft paid over $24 billion to buy LinkedIn maybe 3-4 years ago. There must have been a reason.
Yeah.
And they saw something. I think they paid on average of $55 per connection or something like that was the bottom line when they bought it. And they're getting their money's worth.
Yeah.
And it's been powerful. So when I put out that ad for an adjunct for finance, first 15, 20 minutes, I had 15, 20 responses pretty quick. And then I started getting responses from people that I didn't send out to. And they were saying, I want to teach management. I want to teach law. I want to teach accounting. Now, we had a backlog for adjunct faculty to last us years based on one little announcement, one posting I popped on LinkedIn. So there's power in the network and power in getting the word out. Then I started my own end in mind. What did I want to do? Well, I wanted to reach out to HR folks because you know how LinkedIn's structured: first degree, second degree, third degree connections. When LinkedIn does a search, it says, okay, Scott, you're doing a search. Great. Who are your first degree connections that have the terms data analytics and Tableau and Excel and Python? Okay, there's your first degrees. All right, then it goes to your second degrees. And then it goes to the riffraff and the third degrees, on and on. So you want to be ideally a first degree or a second degree to your connections to be found when others do searches. So I wanted to be that degree of connection when I have a student, and I've got a number of groups on LinkedIn that I maintain, and some of them are very student focused. What happens is if they're connected to me, now all my connections are their second degrees. So any HR manager, any employer, any business, yes, they're now second degrees, and they're going to be in the search. So my goal was to help them, and then I'm back to making a difference, trying to figure out how are they going to get found, and ideally through me. That's helpful. If they're connected to me, we're on our way.
Right.
So there's a lot of power and horsepower. Then when I went for my doctorate, I said, I'm not sure what my dissertation is going to be on and where my research is going to be, but I know I need to connect to some academics. So the summer before I started my doctorate, I said, my target is 1,500, mainly accounting, but any business academic around the world. And I accomplished that goal. And then I did my dissertation, and actually a number of the folks that I connected to got involved, and I connected to and reached out because I was doing nonprofit research, financial health, financial vulnerability. But I didn't know that when I went into my doctorate, that was going to be my area of research. So I did a broad swath and said, what do I need? Where am I going to go? And okay, I need to connect to a bunch of accounting academics. And I went state by state. I went to state schools. I went around the world. I went to all kinds of universities. And I invited a bunch of strangers to connect. And strangely enough, they connected. So I had a bunch of resources. And then when I post things, I get feedback, I get routine. It's kind of powerful
Yeah.
to build that network. So again, back to building your end in mind. The endings have changed. Right now, for the two entities, I mentioned two businesses we started. We're looking for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small business folks. And we have some opportunities to help them get their brand awareness going. We've got something called Dexter, Virtual Expert Directory. But in doing that, I am now consciously reaching out and connecting to folks that are in the small business arena. I took a 5-day challenge course, Alina Vincent, this past summer for 5 weeks. And my drug of choice is LinkedIn, but Facebook wasn't my primary tool. Although I had 500 connections, 480 of them were probably under the age of 18. And don't get the wrong idea. I have 5 kids. And if I want to find my daughter, the last daughter, it was really handy to be able, where's Janae? And then I can go and say, 30 seconds later, a minute later, I'm on Facebook and I can reach out to some of her friends. There we go. Found her.
Well, mine are considerably older. They're 44 and one will be 41.
Excellent.
So
and I'm 43 down to 21 now.
I actually use to trace my grandchildren. So
by the way, Snapchat, pretty good on the locator too, but that's another story. They have to have their phone on to do that. But the tools are out there, and LinkedIn is one of those powerful tools that once you know what you want to do with it, now you can set your profile in the direction. Since I wrote the book, I've modified my profile. Every experience and every education, I start off with 2 words, the why. And I'll have a couple lines, the why of every experience, why I did it, why it means something, why it makes a difference. So that was my evolution, even in my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah. Well, to me, as a coach, I use the why to help people market their business.
Sure.
It starts with why.
Simon Sinek.
Simon Sinek. It starts with why. It's why people buy what you do. They don't buy what you do. If they do, you're a commodity.
They buy what it does for them.
Yeah. But I mean, Apple's a great example of why you do what you do. Apple sells its why, thinking different.
Yeah.
And it does. And it's the price. They don't care about the pricing or the market share because they have a market that's guaranteed every time they come out with a new phone.
And they just overtook Saudi Aramco as the most profitable company ever.
Mm-hmm. Well, they've been the most highly capitalized company ever.
Yep.
For a couple of years.
Market cap. Yep.
Market cap is amazing.
It has been.
It's how they do it. It's how Southwest does it. It's how many other companies do it. So the why is very important in working with entrepreneurs because it helps them separate from other entrepreneurs.
Right. And the why is your customer want to work with you?
Right.
So that's the why of the customer. But now what's in it for me, meaning the customer perspective.
Right.
Every time I draft something, and I always talk to folks about that. What's in it for me is not me, the company, it's the customer.
Yeah. No, it's trying to help them understand what they need. And then, well, as a coach, I sell my services, but I don't sell it. Even on an introductory call that you have after you meet someone on networking, I turn it around to listen. I want to know what they do and how they do it and what their needs are, because then I can sell them on what I do.
Exactly.
Around what they want and what they need and their why. So it's a broad spectrum of what we do.
Very much so.
So how do you get into LinkedIn, as a lot of businesses do, using the referral base? I've got close to 5,000 first connections.
Your closest friends, right?
Closest friends, yes. Some of whom I connect because they're business people that I could have as clients. Some are personal, some are not. But on some of them, how do you connect through the art of introduction? And you know what? Why don't we when we come back from the break, why don't we talk about that? And then we talk about the Vexter.
Sounds like a winner.
Okay. And so when we come back, I'll continue this conversation with Scott Dell, the assistant professor of business at Francis Marion University.
Dr. Scott's an easy way to call me.
Dr. Scott. Okay. Thank you. And I'm Alan Hirsch of Alan Hirsch Advisors, and this is AHA Business Podcast.
Hi, Rick Dempsey here. As a former Oriole and Series MVP, I know a lot about winning and championship teams. Today, I am happy to tell you about my award-winning web design and internet marketing team, Adventure Web Interactive. For over 2 decades, many of Maryland's most successful firms have chosen Adventure Web as their strategic partner for web design and online marketing. I can tell you from using them personally, their search engine optimization and social media programs have saved their clients tens of thousands over the traditional pay-per-click digital agency. Visit adventurewebinteractive.com and listen to what clients such as Hercules Fence, TriStar Electric, ABC Rental, Rhine Landscaping, Markdown's Office Furniture, and many more highly successful firms have to say. And don't forget to tell them Rick Dempsey sent you.
Strengthen, protect, and preserve your retirement nest egg. Scott Garceau here for the Stephen J. Sless Group, Baltimore's reverse mortgage specialist. Reverse mortgages have evolved to become a viable retirement tool. Enjoy retirement without monthly mortgage payments, improve cash flow, pay off debt, and stretch retirement savings. Stephen and his team can offer strategies to make housing wealth work for you. If you're 62 or older, learn if a reverse mortgage could help. Visit reversebaltimore.com.
An equal housing opportunity lender. This is not a commitment to lend. Stephen J. Sless, NMLS 298581. PRMI NMLS 3094.
Welcome back to the show. My guest today is Scott Dell. He's the assistant professor of business at Francis Marion University in South Carolina. And he's also an author of the book dealing with LinkedIn. Welcome back to the show, Scott.
Glad to be back.
It's my pleasure. Before the break, we talked about the art of introductions through LinkedIn. So can you talk about doing some of that and how that, the art of that helps CEOs and business owners?
Okay. So you think of the introduction, think of an interview. And one of the most popular questions to ask is, tell me about yourself. Tell me about yourself should not be your resume. Should not be your history of work experience. It should be your story. And that was one of the companies we were building. The founder of Silver Learning Centers developed a course to help tell your story called Intro Edge. That's something that we actually picked up and are using across the world now to help others tell their story. And this story is about you and your why. We talked about the why is so important for all of us. So you don't want to rehash, yep, I taught this, I had this experience, I managed this. You are why you do what you do. And the same thing through LinkedIn, when you're telling your story, there are places to tell a story because you've got the same thing on a resume, same thing on a LinkedIn profile. Depending on who you talk to, you've got 3 to 10 seconds to impress the heck out of somebody. And you look at that first backdrop, you look at the screen behind you. And what does that tell you? And some of the gurus say, well, state your problem, state how you're going to relieve the pain. Others say, start with an inspiration, whether it's a quote or an image. But what do you want to portray? What is your brand? What do you want to expose and to share? But getting back to your question is, so how do we get that introduction going? Well, that introduction is your first impression. And that first impression is your background. You're obviously going to want to change. You're a professional. You don't want your arm around a significant other. You don't want your dog in there unless you're a vet.
I mean, it drives me crazy when I see these people, do these Facebook pictures on LinkedIn.
Now, I will confess, for a long time, and I'll say rules are made to be broken, because the rule is professional headshot photo, good to go. But my mission, my vision, what I was trying to portray for a long time when, as an academic at my last school as accounting program director, is the school spirit and supporting my students. So I literally had my arm around our saber-tooth tiger mascot
Okay.
with an image.
Right.
And I got in battles with my career services because I did LinkedIn seminars. He said, Scott, you want a professional photo? That's the gospel. That's what you want to hear. That's what you want to see. And I say, yes. And I think it's quite professional, and rules are made to be broken. But that's the image I wanted to portray is, hey, we're in this together. And
Right.
for students, that was fine.
And that's fine if you're trying to portray a certain image, which you were trying to portray as part of a school university backdrop.
Exactly. You don't want to be in a Harley t-shirt unless you're a Harley mechanic
Right.
and looking for a job at a shop. And that's okay. A Harley t-shirt's totally appropriate now. But again, what image are you trying to portray? What kind of effect and introduction are you trying to perform?
Right.
So now I've got the picture, got the banner in the back, and we got our headline. And the headline is prime real estate. By the way, the headline gives you 10 to 20 times presence for keywords than the description below gives you. So you want to have keyword, not VP of operations. Okay, congratulations, you're VP of operations. So was I way back when. I'm a CEO. What does that mean? I don't know. It means you sign checks sometimes. Okay, there's all kinds of things you do, but what is your role and what can you do for others? All right.
Well, I start on my profile with, I believe in making a difference in people's lives.
There we go. And that's exactly what you're saying. And that's exactly what you're doing. And that's effective in communicating to me, hey, Alan's cool. He likes to change people. And I could use a change right now. Let's talk.
Yeah.
So then you go to the introduction, because what's going to happen? You're going to send out an invite. And I always get the question, well, should I accept invites from people I don't know? Well, frankly, most of your customers you don't know until they become customers or they get in the funnel and you get to start talking to them and build that relationship and rapport. So 95% of the time I'll say, sure. And I will accept invitations without hesitation or reservation. I will check out the profile, but I will tell you, if in the first 30 minutes you send a response saying, by the way, I've got a business opportunity I'd like to share, click, we're done. That's not a rapport builder. That's not a story. That's not an opportunity to interact and to share. That's you giving me a sales pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And I have enough of sales pitches. I sold cars. I sold vacuum cleaners.
Right.
Okay, not your typical CPA, but the idea is it's a rapport and a chance, as you were saying before, about listening and understanding, and then thinking things through on how you can help and make a difference.
So the whole thing in the introduction is to tell them why you do what you do, and then ask them about themselves.
Right. They're going to have an interest in seeing you, but again, it's what's in it for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to see, okay, is this something that's going to be useful and handy and helpful for me to have? Boy, you're helping other people. Maybe you can help me.
Right.
That's cool. That says something, as opposed to, I offer this service. I have this on Tuesdays. I do this on Thursdays. And no, that's it's a push and pull philosophy.
Right.
You want to pull.
Right. So the key to the introduction is literally, it doesn't involve business.
You're right. Sales is selling yourself and
Right.
then your product or service. You're right on.
Right. What you're doing is you're providing an introduction to you through personal features and personal history.
Right.
And then you can get into the business.
And you want the commonalities to come through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, I'm a native Bostonian. So anytime I send out an invitation to somebody, I'll say, saw you on this event, or I hear you're speaking at this event. I may not even know them.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, when I go back and we talk 6 months later, a year later, I'll be able to go back to my messaging and say, oh, that's where I met you. So it helps my memory as much as an introduction for them. But it also establishes a context and says, okay, we met. And then I'll say, as a fellow professional or fellow career counselor or a fellow entrepreneur and native Bostonian, and I spell it Bahstan, but no, that's okay. That's a different story. As a fellow Bostonian, they say, oh, or native New Englander, if
Oh,
they're
we
from
used to
Worcester
call-
or New Hampshire.
My ex-wife used to call us all Baltimoreans
Well,
instead of Baltimoreans.
my daughter's a Baltimorean now. I'll go with the latter of the two.
Right, right. But it's very funny. So where does this Vexter come in? This new business that you're promoting.
This is a cool story. Okay, speaking of storytelling, I mean, I've a partner from another business that failed, and frankly, I learned more from failures and successes, and that's
Well,
okay.
most of us do.
That's right. You trip, you fall, you get up. That's what you do.
Get up, you learn, and if you do it properly and subordinates fail, you coach them on how to improve. You ask the first question, what went wrong?
That's right. And you ask them, what would you do to improve? You give them the chance to think
Right.
it through.
The next question is, what went wrong? How do you improve it? And what do you do to correct it?
I always told, as a manager, I always said, come to me with solutions, not problems,
Right,
but come to me. So
Right.
the door's open door policy.
right.
So you came and said, hey, here's a problem. Here's my thought. And then I'll say, okay, I've been at this probably a few more years than you might have been. Have you thought about this or take this angle?
Yeah.
But our Vexter, that virtual expert directory, came about when we were brainstorming some ideas for needs in business, and it was COVID time. COVID has been an opportunity, and I mean, there's been a lot going on, and there's a lot of challenges that go with it. But it's turned out an opportunity to spend some more time not having to commute and working later, which is good and bad. And Zooming already, it's 10:30 this morning. This is Zoom call number 4. But that's okay.
Yeah.
There's productivity in that. So we were talking and trying to figure out some opportunities of where do we go? What kind of businesses can we formulate and help others? And we came up with an idea for a kind of a vertical target market. And we're developing a website. And the website said, well, we're creating courses, badges, opportunities for learning. Once we give these people a badge or they graduate a course, they need to be found. So we're going to develop a website that has the search capabilities and the ability to jump in and say, okay, you can find them here. They passed these courses. They're at this level. Now they're ready for a consulting or a coaching or other service opportunities. And then he said that, you know what? There really are some third-party software products out there that actually do this side of it that we don't have to start from scratch and build it into our website. So we started looking and we found some membership directory kind of tools and said, you know what? There are tools of brick and mortar. If you're a restaurant, you can go online and you can do a Google search, okay? And you can be found in a variety of tools and a variety of environments. If you're a plumber or electrician, you can go on Angie's List. You're good to go. You got Yelp, you got Angie's List, you got a whole bunch of tools. What's out there for the virtual expert, the virtual service provider? How about if you're a health and wellness coach or an executive coach or business coach? Maybe you're a website developer. Maybe you're a Zoom facilitator. I mean, you can make $300 to $500 facilitating Zoom meetings and executive producing Zoom meetings, which is pretty powerful, pretty cool,
Right.
not a bad gig. But how do you find these people? So we established and we came up with an idea that said, maybe we can find this platform that's going to be a centralized tool and resource to network for solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, anybody that has a small business that wants to network and find and be found, as we said. So we played with names and we decided that, well, a virtual expert directory is kind of what we're doing. So we came up with Vexter, VEXDIR.com. And with that, we found that, okay, now you can post your own webinars and seminars. So we've got a calendar function that is built in. You can be rated, 5-star rating, 4-star rating. Think Amazon. So you can have people rate you, you can respond, you can get feedback. You can indicate whether you're female owned, minority owned, veteran owned. I'm a Navy vet myself. If you're small business certified, you have all kinds of fields and functions. If you're a vegetarian, if you happen to not eat pork and shellfish, you can put those on your profile. And so we're terming it Google plus LinkedIn equals Vexter. And Vexter is the kind of tool where if you've got ebooks, seminars, you've got activities you want to share, you can do instant messaging, direct messaging between fellow members. The same way you can almost, in first degree connections in LinkedIn, you can message, but you can go even further. So this Vexter platform is a pretty powerful tool and environment that has a lot of information. And there's a free version, there's some paid versions, and we're doing some affiliate stuff. We're a single level affiliate. Half the revenue goes to whoever does a referral. So it's a way of making a lifetime referral business too down the road. But right now we have released it March 1st. So it's pretty new, but it's a pretty unique opportunity. And I'll share a promotion if you would like for all listeners to your podcast for getting the next level for free if you like.
Okay. Thank you. So before we close, is there anything we've left out on LinkedIn which can benefit business owners and marketers that are searching for the next whatever?
The one word we probably haven't addressed enough of is engagement. Because you can have a personal profile and you get a business profile, and LinkedIn is trying to push business profiles a little bit more. But the personal profile is where your potential employees are going to look, where your potential clients are going to look, and customers are going to look. And they may find the business and they may dive into that. You should have a presence on your business as well. But the personal is where it starts. But you also want to get involved in groups, because groups are where you can establish yourself and you can prospect. A powerful two areas that are underused. One is the alumni arena, that you can go to alumni and it'll tell you all the alumni that studied this or in this industry or in the city from any institution you've been to. Another side is when you post meetings, gatherings, conferences, and events on LinkedIn. Once you register, you can see the other 128 people that registered and look at their profiles. So you've got a natural lead list as well to follow up with, and that you might want to connect directly with. So there's an engagement portion, and then back to the groups, participate in these groups. And these are, I'll say, like-minded folks in the industry, and you get exchange ideas and give before you get, like any networking. We're not out there to take. We're out there to give. It's a two-way street, give and get. It has to work both ways.
Yeah. Well, in most networking, you try to give first.
Amen. So speaking of giving, I will go ahead and give that free code that gets that Vexter level. If Vexter.com, there's a free membership. There's the VIP level, which is a Vexter Influencer for Professional. And it's normally $120 a year. Your listeners will get it for free if they enter the following code. VPI free.
VPI free.
Free. Victor, Papa, India, free, Free.
And it's Vexter.com.
Vexter, VEXDIR.com. The second level, $120 a year, it'll drop it down to zero. And free membership. Anybody that has a business that wants to promote, get acceptance, get exposure, and share. And it's going to be a giving. We'll be having a podcast too. We're going to be having podcasting and networking gatherings. We're targeting the end of April to begin. So I'll let you know when the dates are, and hopefully we'll get involvement. But you'll be belonging, so you'll be hearing about it first.
Yes,
you're on. You're in. So
I'm plan to join, and I'll be using the code.
Outstanding. Glad to have you.
Well, I'd be my pleasure. This has been great, and I really appreciate the time you've given me, and you've given my listeners. So I want to thank you very much.
And I will invite you and your listener. Yeah, we're already connected, but anybody on LinkedIn, /in Dr. Scott CPA is or just under Scott Dell. I would welcome the opportunity to connect with any and all. And I give a lifetime guarantee with my broadcasts and podcasts. If you have any questions, free consulting.
Okay.
Send me a message on LinkedIn.
Well, thank you. I was going to ask how can the listeners reach you, but you just gave that information.
Exactly right.
So
LinkedIn is my drug of choice.
Okay. I'm Alan Hirsch of Alan Hirsch Advisors, the host today. You can reach me at my website, www.AHA Online Learning, and register to get my book, 45-Minute Breakthroughs. You can listen to the podcast of past shows wherever you get your podcasts by subscribing to AHA Business Podcast. You can email me at www.allanhirsh advisors.com. I'm Alan Hirsch, and this has been an AHA Business Podcast.